welcome to the first Frenzee match roundup of 2022. So, Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year to everybody, yeah, 2022.
Hope everyone had a brilliant Christmas, brilliant New Year. We've been a little bit busy, loads going on, so we've not had a chance to catch up with you. But here we are, we're not going to stop. We'll keep them going right through this year as well. Hopefully catch loads of fish.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
I think we've both had a decent enough
Been
start.
out yeah, we've been out, haven't we? We've been doing a bit of silverfish fishing.
Yeah.
Back up at Sesse.
Yeah,
We've
you've
had,
been sneaking onto my venue
yeah,
and
well,
catching a few fish.
I've had to bring you some fresh maggots from Wickersley.
Ran out a bit, but again, we go to a tackle shop and pick some up. Had to get some decent ones from somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, onto the fishing. I mean, we've both been here quite a bit, the Oaks, where we are today.
Yeah.
Trying to think back, sort of first match you came, I think, was it, when I was on? First of all, it was a little bit of a story, wasn't there?
Yeah, yeah, we had
so we were sat having breakfast and 2 pegs left in the bag. Obviously, I've been known to draw
golden.
The occasional good peg.
Yeah.
So we'll go back, there's 2 pegs left in, peg 12, the all-time ultimate silverfish flyer of the century, and Aldous 38, no,
34.
34, that was it, Aldous 34 left in. So, we're waiting to draw, just the 2 of us left, 2 pegs left in, and you let me draw first.
No, I drew first. You got you had the last one in the bag, but that was the other day.
Yeah.
No, Tom said there's 2 pegs left, there's one good one and there's one that is like, you don't normally want. So I said, let me get the one that Adam wants. So I went in, 34. No.
Yeah, so I ended up on
Put a big smile on your
Screaming
face.
Flyer. Someone's got to sit on them, so it might as well be me.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice match, actually. It fished hard, didn't it? Really hard that day, to be honest. Especially for those on poorer pegs.
Yeah, it was a slow start.
If I could pick a peg, to be honest, every single time, peg 12 on Alders would be my first pick. And it hadn't been fishing all that well in the run up to that. Last couple of weeks, people were saying, oh, they're not really there, but you'd take it every time. It's brilliant. And I actually had a lovely match. I caught some fish, just tapping in a few maggots at 16 metres. Nice light rig, same as always, strung out shot. And at the start, it was a bit difficult. I caught a very odd fish. And then some fish came back over my loose feed, and I caught some fishing sort of, not really shallow, but 2/3 depth seems about best at the minute when a few fish are there.
Yeah, yeah.
Caught a few fish there, had a real good run through the middle. And then later on, I don't know, I think you've probably noticed the same as well a bit lately, that the last hour or so, the match never seems to be very good here. Not when you'd expect it to come good. Yeah. Had a really poor last hour. But luckily...
You had a nice, decent stamp. You had 1 or 2 better stamp fish, didn't you?
Yeah. That's, to be honest, I think that is what makes that peg stand out a little bit. For whatever fish, whatever reason, fish are just a little bit bigger, and they're sort of... Where everywhere else there might be sort of 6 to 8 ounce, in them pegs there seem to be sort of 10 ounce to a pound.
You're not looking to try and get a rhythm together, you're just looking to keep fish turning over, aren't you? So you keep swapping and changing. Yeah,
that's it. While the weights are low, it's sort of a case of every time you catch maybe 2 fish, it's 3 of someone else's, so it makes it a bit of an easier match. And I finished up with sort of maybe 30 fish probably for, I did have £23 I think. 26 pound I might have had.
I think you had £26.
Yeah, £26, enough to win the match. Yeah. So I've been really lucky, to be honest, on these silverfish matches so far. I've drawn some great pegs and I've had some really good results. So it was nice to keep that going a little bit. It was nice that you started coming a bit as well. It's given me something to bounce a few ideas off as well.
When we came up and we did the feature, it was like somewhere that straight away I just sort of like really look forward to coming. Yeah. I knew straight away, just like fishing through the water, just catapults, you can constantly feeding all the time, so definitely somewhere that I'd like, look forward to coming. And to be honest with you, it caught me out a little bit for a start off because I sort of just wanted to fish sort of one line and rotate rigs. Yeah. But it has definitely been, especially a little bit more on Alders, but got maybe fish 2 lines, 3 lines possibly, and just rotate your lines a little bit more and rotate your rigs as well a little bit. But so it took me a couple of matches sort of to get into it. But it's like you said, I came in and maybe sometimes when you don't draw so well, you can just relax a little bit and just try a few things for your next match and your next match on. So that was so it wasn't all lost, not drawing so well.
I mean, that day you had a poor day really, and you had a few bites, but drew not so well. I think you missed out on the section by a pound or 2, but you've had a couple of great results here since.
Yeah, we've had some good results. Yeah, I went on oak, and again I was fortunate. I drew oak 5, which by all accounts is a really good peg, and it was nice that I drew it 2 matches on the trot because I sort of learnt again off the first one. I didn't rotate my lines early enough. Rob Harbour was opposite me. He had a nice match. He's had like £19. I think I was definitely on a better peg than Rob, and my £19 was sort of like, could have been, you know, strength of the peg could have been could have done a bit better. So when I went and drew it on the Wednesday, I did have £19. No, I did have £19. That's right. Yes, but we came on the Wednesday and it had all chilled off and what have you, and even though it fished more difficult, I was ready for when the fish were actually switched on to feed. So I was ready to rotate my lines, and that's basically what happened. You know, probably first 3 hours was a little bit slow, probably had £3 or £4 actually, and had to go across to the island to keep the eye ticking over, even though there was very few and far between. But I kept pinging all the time over 2 or 3 lines, only fishing 6 to 8 casters, but just kept them going in all the time, and I was hoping for like when the switch went, and it did. With about an hour and a half, 2 hours to go, got my first bite, and then I could rotate 2, 3 lines, and I kept them coming. Obviously, when I look back on the match before, when I've had £19, and you've seen the opportunities that I would have had there. So again, it was nice to draw the same peg twice, even though maybe fluffed my lines a little bit on the first match, but it definitely is nice when you come somewhere that's new, that you had a couple of goes at it, you definitely get a feel for the venue a little bit quicker.
Yeah, you sort of put what you've learned into practice a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously then when we've spoke after the matches as well, it's very similar sort of things are happening, and you can learn a little bit both ways, can't you? And definitely one of the things that I've picked up on earlier in the winter, and you have since you've started coming, is being busy is key, isn't it? Whether that's putting your rig in again, whether it's moving lines, whether it's feeding, you need to be active. And even when it's lower weight, on most of the lakes, the fish are roach and they're eyed, and they respond to movement, they respond to bait going in, and you're trying to almost catch your fish's attention to catch it.
One thing I've definitely noticed is that the stamp fish that's in amongst them, the slightly better stamp roach, them like 4 to 6 ounce fish, they move up and down in the water, so it still leaves the 2 to 3 ounce fish, your bread and butter fish, to sort of sit at a depth that you could constantly keep ticking a few fish over. But if you swap and change your rigs, different depths, so you might just pick up your slightly shallower rig, you know, you wouldn't think they were there because you'd think you'd pick him up on the drop on the way down, but you don't. He's like just fishing like a foot shallower, 18 inches shallower, and probably like, say, 2 foot, 2'6" instead of 3'6", nearly 4 foot. You pick up them better stamp fish, you might just get 2 or 3 and then just go back to your other rig and then just carry on with your bread and butter fish, them 2 ounce, 3 ounce fish. So the shallower I've caught, the bigger the stamper fish.
But the less bites you get.
Exactly. But they don't show you that they're there unless you're actually fishing that depth or fishing a rig that's actually. So for me, it was like a case of the rig of actually, for me, my best rig's been, so if I've wanted the maggot or the caster to actually still be falling as it's actually like reaching the depth that you're actually, so depth. I don't want to exactly fish the depth that I think the fish are at. I want to probably fish another 8 to 10 inches, just so my rig's still falling in front. Otherwise, you can miss a few too many bites. So it's important just to be fishing slightly deeper than the actual depth that you're thinking that they're at the time.
So that gives you the option then to sort of lift your rig and put it back in without lifting the full rig up. Absolutely. Just speed the process up a bit.
We spoke about hooks and we spoke about baits. I mean, you know, depending on how much bait you can actually feed, we thought that maggots sometimes is going to be better because you can feed a few more, where casters you can't quite feed as many, so you miss a few more bites. So it's just trying to find that. I've swapped to maggots from casters, even though I had a nice little result on casters. I've swapped casters, and I've even dropped down to pinkies earlier on in the match just to try and tick a few of them smaller roach over. I sometimes feel as if the better fish will come into your peg if there's a few fish there already. They don't feel like they're solely coming in on the quiet. It's like they're coming in where they can actually see a few fish still milling about. So if you can draw the smaller fish in. So I've sort of just been like teasing a few pinkies in for a start at the first part of the match, trickling a few pinkies in, and then I've been slowly putting them onto maggots as the match has been going on, which is, you know, it's been working. So, and
then obviously after that we've both had a couple of matches on Willow Lake, Special Lake, and that's totally different, isn't it? A lot deeper, a lot more of a variety of fish, some skimmers, big perch, obviously loads and loads of roach. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, I actually filmed a live match on there sort of a few weeks ago. So if anyone wants to check out that is on our YouTube channel, and that's on that lake. And since then we've both drawn it. First up was the last round of the Winter League for me, and I drew peg 6. I've had a really good first 2 rounds of the Winter League. I've caught, I think, £50 on furs to win my section. And the second one I caught 25 pound on Oaks, again to win my section. So I was going in that match sort of right up there in the standings. And peg 6 on Willows is a great peg. Really fancied my chances, and I felt like I was going to be fishing for skimmers on there. It was cold, a little bit of ice about. And my real plan was to feed little balls of ground bait and fish maggots and pinkies and things like that on the hook. And I actually got off to a really good start. You were here that day.
Called it right,
You were on peg 12 on Alders
12
that day,
on
weren't you?
Alders,
Unfortunately, Alders didn't fish very well that day. I spoke to you and you were struggling, and after an hour I'd got sort of 20 fish, I think, hadn't I? 4 or 5 pounds.
Yeah, I think you had nearly £6.
So a really, really good start. And after sort of, the matches are 5.5 hours long, after 3 hours I probably had 10 to 12 pound. I'm thinking this is going really well. And I don't know how, my bites really slowed down, and I felt like last time I was on there I caught some better skimmers late, and I forced my peg a little bit to catch them. And I totally blew it, to be honest, and my peg went, and I was watching Kaylee Dowd on peg 9 on the point, steadily catching roach them last 2 hours, thinking she's going to overtake me. And that's how it turned out. I think I finished up with about £13.12, caught next to nothing last 2 hours. And Kaylee finished up with £15, so second in section. A good result in the league, to be honest. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 of us with 2 firsts and a second, so it kept me up there, but chance wasted.
Yeah, Kaylee's done well. She's had some good results up here, hasn't she? And you know, she's a difficult one to beat, Kaylee. So
I felt like there was probably 17, 18, 19 pound to catch on my peg, and I probably should have spent a bit more time fishing for roach, to be honest, loose feed and maggots, fishing through the water a bit, but when I'm fishing for skimmers was the right approach early, it didn't last. And I've spent the second part of the match fishing for the wrong fish. And I think you proved the point a bit on there, because you went and drew that same peg not long after.
I spoke to you about it, and you sort of gave me that sort of path to go down, to be honest with you. And I didn't really, I did have 25, 30 minutes fishing for skimmers, but then I just went straight. I just like pinged maggots over 2 lines. I'd drawn Willers on 1 on the Sunday match, on the Mizella match, and again on Willers. And from what I learnt off that match with the pinkies and the maggots and everything, I was more or less, again, I had £15, I came second, but I just took that straight into that match off the back of what you said. I just followed really what happened on Sunday, what you said, and had a real nice match. I mean, I think it fished a bit better. You'd had a bit of ice trouble on the Saturday, the aerators, and I think by Wednesday everything had settled down a little bit, and the fish were a little bit more, there was fish topping everywhere on the Wednesday match. And again, I started on my pinkies. I fed 1 line with pinkies, 1 line with maggots, and I didn't need the pinkies, the stamp. When I went to my maggot line, there was slightly better stamp straight away, so I just turned both lines into maggot straight away, and it just got stronger and stronger. And again, going back to like the fish, the shallower you caught them, the bigger the stamp. And that was last hour and a half. There were very few bites, but every time you got one, it was a net. It was them like 5, 6 ounce fish. So. Ended up good weight, £26. Kaylee, again, I think had drawn peg 9. Again, it fished a bit. She had £15 off it, I think, on the Saturday. She had £23 on the Wednesday match. So the lake definitely picked up, and again, good result with Kaylee. We were first and second on the match, and lovely stamp fish. So it's great fishing,
And obviously feel like you've sort of got yourself into tune with the venue a bit, and no doubt looking forward to getting another match in. Might
come up on the Sunday on the Mizella match. I know you're here on Saturday, aren't you? I'm
here Saturday. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to it. We're here today, it's icy, it's cold, the fishing is definitely going to be hard, but for a change, I've not been out fishing much lately, so really looking forward to getting back on the bank. Obviously, Paul just takes time off whenever he fancies it, gets himself out fishing, and just gets someone to look after the shop.
I've been drawing 1 or 2 good pegs.
I think while I'm not out fishing, he's obviously stolen my drawing arm.
Well, I've had one night at the Drawbag Hotel. We had a Christmas get together, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And I've been thinking about it, and every time I've been like, I'm thinking, what's happened? Because I've actually been putting my hand in. I've been drawing areas and pegs that I want, and it's ever since I stopped at yours for a night.
Yeah, well, I think we'll have to not have him round again. We don't want to see that happening again. We don't want to get him used to it. Keep the flyers for me, and he can have what's left. But some brilliant matches. Looking forward to getting out again.
Yeah, Tunnels on Saturday. We've had the last couple of matches. We've been down to Tunnels, teams of 4. It's been definitely like ISIS hit it. Fishing's still been good, but again, there's been 1 or 2 pegs that's been a little bit iffy. As a team, we've managed to drop on a couple of them pegs, which is like upset. I think we've had an 8th and a 14th in his last 2 matches. Fishing's still been good. I had £33 on Saturday, just below halfway in my section, the 19. Match before, I think I had I had £17. I didn't do so well that day. I think I was like 8th and 9th in my section. So, but we're still in 4th place. I think we're 40 points off the leaders, 20 points off 2nd and 3rd. So still all to play for. You know, it's like we're still in there. And anything can happen with a 20-point swing in each section.
Yeah.
There's 80 points up for grabs. So New Fish Preston are winning it. Des Ship's team's coming up now strong. They'll always be the team to beat for me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it this weekend.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to be iced up, but still fishing well through the ice.
Yeah, and I mean, I think something we just spoke about literally before this match report, you'd probably rather it is frozen at the weekend, because if it isn't, the ice will be thawing out now, fishing will get worse, so you're better off breaking it. Fishing will still be good.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit of ice breaking here at Oaks at the weekend. There's some ice on the lakes today.
Possibly.
But hopefully there'll be some fish to be caught, and I can't wait to get out. I know you can't.
Yeah.
And apologies to everyone for the long delay between the last roundup and this one, but hopefully we'll keep them nice and regular again now. Christmas and New Year out the way.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone has a brilliant weekend, catches plenty of fish.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going to. And we'll catch up with everyone again next time.
Absolutely. See you soon.